everyone, and welcome back. So I saw this glass dome, and it was telling me that I need to make a Metroid out of it. So we're making a Metroid. So I thought it would make sense to actually make this Metroid in two parts. So I start off making a disc, baking that, and to actually do the top part of the Metroid, I just build a mound of aluminum foil and lay some clay over that. Next, I'm wrapping some balls of aluminum foil with some clay, and this is gonna be the Metroid's brain balls. Ball brain. Brain balls? Yeah, brain balls. So yeah, brain balls. To attach all three of them, I just use some bacon bond, and I'm gonna be using that a lot in this sculpt, and maybe I'll actually get through it because I've had this stuff for years, and it's still good. But anyways, so I end up using my needle tool so I can lay out where all the bulges in the brain is gonna be. And then I use my ball tool to give it a brain-like texture that you will find in a Metroid because our brains don't look like this. Next, I just use my bigger ball tool and I'm just punching out where I think some interesting details would be. I'm going off of a couple of reference photos, but you can't really see exactly the entirety of the Metroid. So I'm just kind of doing what I think an alien body that sucks out your energy would look like. And this is what I was coming up with. And I think it looks really cool. I can see, like, as far as the reference photos I was seeing, they were showing like this ribby texture in the very top part of it. So I was like, let me just carry that down all along and around the body. And for some reason, this ribby texture just makes things look more alien. I don't know, but it works, and that's good. So, Metroid. It's been around for a long time. Which ones do you like? Like, which game do you like? There's been so many. I'm currently playing Dread right now, and it is stressing me out. I'm just now picking it back up after a year of putting it down because I was so stressed. It's a really fun game, and I really enjoy it, but my goodness, it is challenging. What do you guys think? Have you played it? But my favorites, I have a couple. My favorite one, because this is what I started off playing, is Super Metroid. Amazing game. I remember playing it when I had to been like maybe 8 to 10 years old or something, and loved the game. Amazing game. After that, Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime has the best soundtrack. I listen to it to this day. It's amazing. I love it. As far as the gameplay, it's really fun. Like, Metroid is definitely something where you're just wandering around, honestly. You have to have patience. You wander around, you try and find a way to open that door that didn't open initially. But that's part of the fun of it. You're just running around, collecting energy from the aliens that you kill, sucking their souls, you know? I mean, you kind of are a Metroid in that sense. But yeah, you're just listening to really great atmospheric music, and it's a good time. It's the same thing with Super Metroid as well. It has great music as well. I mean, I love the game. But you guys tell me which games that you like. For the bottom part of the Metroid, I'm just essentially gluing down a tube of aluminum foil with some bacon bond and then just sealing that up with some clay. So I can't remember because I'm mostly basing this Metroid off of like the Prime Metroids, and I can't remember if there is actually a mouth cavity. Let me see. I'll look it up. Yeah, I checked and they don't. I'll show a picture of what I was looking at. But yeah, so I was thinking just making a mouth cavity would look pretty cool. So I'm making the mouth pincers or the talons, whatever you want to call it. I'm making that out of Cosclay, and I just roll it into a cone shape that I shaved down and just use my ball tool and my cone shaper to rough in some details. I want to do some sculpts from Super Metroid, and I have a few in mind that I'm really excited about. But is there anything from Metroid that you guys would like to see me make? So here I realized I put the talon holders too far forward, so I'm just moving that off to the side. And just swinging it around so I can see if it looks right, because the only way I'll know is if it's actually doing the Metroid floating motion. Before I actually attach the talons to the body, I bake the talons, and then it makes it a whole lot easier for me to sculpt around it. So I know this isn't exactly accurate. I put a smaller talon on the back of it, really so that it'll stand up by itself. And also, I feel like it kind of adds to the lore of it as well, you know? Like it has the two big talons to hold on to you and the two smaller arm talons to also hold on to you. And then you got the smaller one in the back to really anchor it on, you know? So it makes sense. I mean, it looks pretty cool to me. So for the arms, so it just doesn't break off, I attach some wire into the clay, and then I wrap the Cosclay around the wire, and then I just shape it out so that it looks like teeny little alien murder arms. And then like the bigger talons, the smaller talons gets baked, so it's easier for me to handle and attach to the rest of the body. So for the bottom part of the Metroid, I'm actually recreating a Metroid that I've already made. I'll show it right here. So I made this Metroid, I think maybe a year or two ago, and I made a Metroid for my sister because we actually played these games together, and Metroid is like our favorite game. But my problem with that is because I made it so tiny, I didn't really get the details that I wanted. So I'm recreating it but bigger, and this way I can get all the details in there that I want. So like right here, I'm making the mouth, and then I get to really go in with the mouth ridges. And with such a small scale, you can do it, but you can do it better if it's bigger. Now I'm attaching some teeth that I made off camera, and I'm just attaching each tooth with some bacon bond. I'm using a tweezer because it was getting difficult getting my fingers in there. So after we finish doing the teeth, it's in for its final bake, and then we can start painting. Actually, not quite. It collapsed in the oven. And that was completely on me. I put it in there a way that I shouldn't, but it's an easy fix. So I just cut off the excess of some of the clay so I can just put it back together. And instead of the upright stance that it had initially, we're gonna go with how it is out of the oven because the legs actually started splaying apart. And I think that looks pretty cool still. And the patch up was pretty straightforward. Just add some bacon bond, some fresh clay, press in the damaged parts, and you're done. Good as new. And it looks so good. I actually like the wider stance. I think it looks, I don't know, it looks great. So on to painting. I just start off with a dark brownish base coat. And after that dries, I'm going based off of the reference photos from the Prime Metroids, and that's more of a warmer look. So I just do a series of dry brushings, starting off with this yellow ochre color. And then I'll just build on top of that with a burnt orange. And then I'll go on top of that with a yellow. For the little eye part in the center, I just go in with a red wash on top of that. For its brain, I'm starting off with a muted red. And then in certain parts, I'll paint in some purple. And then dry brush on top of all that with some pale pink. I paint the mouth with a fleshy pink color, and then paint the teeth white. I use that same white on all of the talons. After that, I'll just go in with a dark wash inside the mouth, and then this ochre wash on the talons. Once that's done, I will dry brush some pure white on top of that to bring out some more of those details. I do the same for the teeth as well. And then that's it for the painting. For the brain stems, I just used this embroidery thread and I just twisted it together and coated it with some Mod Podge and let it dry. To make sure that I get the thread to be the right size because it needs to fit inside the dome, I just used some of this putty and some wire cut to different lengths to measure the distance that I'll need. Once I get the right distance, I just put in some glue and then cut the thread to the right height. And I do the different colors because I'm trying to mimic what we have in our own bodies, like red blood vessels and the blue blood vessels. For the branchy parts of the brain stems, I just use the scraps of what I cut up and just pull it apart so it looks like a branch. And then I just cut off the excess of the stems and then just attach the branches to that. Thinking about it, I could have just snipped the ends of the brain stems and not have to glue anything else onto it, but hindsight is 20/20, you know? To finish off, I paint some highlights onto the brain stems to add a little pizzazz to it. Though I'm not sure if you're actually really going to see all of it too well because the dome is going to be painted green, so I'm not really sure how much you're going to see. Okay, so the body's finally done. So I painted the dome off camera. I used this kind of paint here. So hard to get. I don't know why it's so hard to get. Not in any stores around me, and it's expensive. I think it was like $17 for this can of paint. Too much if you ask me, and believe me, I tried to find an alternative, but I gave in. So I bought the paint. But it looks so good. I really like the color and how it came out. It's definitely something the more you spray, the more transparent it gets. I don't know how that works, but yeah, it worked out for me. And with that, it's all done. Let's look at the final results. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I hope you all enjoyed this just as much as I did creating this. Let me know what you all think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye!